Hey there, CENIMASTER fans! Hope you're ready for some movie magic. Let's dive right in. Our story begins with a group of bullies beating up a student at their school named Jin. Young punched him hard, distorting his face. We notice that his appearance starts to change, turning into a zombie. Suddenly, Jin gets up angrily, and he attacks him with all his strength, falling from a great height to his death. His friends flee the scene, and some bystanders take him to the hospital. An hour later, Jin's father, Mr. Lee, arrives at the hospital. From his appearance, it's clear he's hiding something. He finds the receptionist busy and sneaks into his son's room unnoticed. Jin tells him what happened in detail, and when asked if he bites anyone, Jin says no. We learn that Mr. Lee had experimented on his son to make him stronger, but the experiment failed and turned him into a zombie. Suddenly, Jin starts having seizures and transforms into a zombie. Mr. Lee apologizes, saying, "I'm sorry, I'm the one who did this to you," and then violently kills him. He places Jin's body in a bag and removes it from the hospital. A week later, we see Mr. Lee working at the same school his son attended. Young and his gang are still bullying students, and their latest victim is a girl named Sue and her friend Chan. The problem begins when Young tries to harass Sue. Chan confronts him, saying, "That's inappropriate, Young. You shouldn't touch her." The situation escalates when Young records a video of Sue without her clothes to blackmail her. Sue is devastated, and her mental state deteriorates. After this incident, her friend becomes angry but couldn't do anything. We then meet Lizzo, a tough guy who stands up to the gang and rescues the students. In another scene, Mr. Lee asks a group of students to clean the science lab after class. They complete the task and leave, but they forget their friend Hyun, who had fallen asleep. Before leaving, Hyun hears a loud noise in the lab and decides to investigate. She finds a cute little mouse and starts playing with it. Suddenly, the mouse has a seizure and bites her hand, potentially transmitting the virus through her blood. Mr. Lee arrives and asks her who allowed her to enter the lab. She apologizes and leaves, but he notices blood where she was standing. Realizing the mouse bit her, he pulls her back into the lab, knowing she could transform at any moment. Meanwhile, Lizzo is heading to his classroom when a girl named Jo stops him to confess her feelings. Lizzo remains silent and doesn't respond. The next day, the teacher Mao enters the classroom and asks the students about their friend Hyun, who has gone missing. One student mentions the last time they saw her was during the lab cleanup. After class, Mao goes to the lab and meets Mr. Lee. She tells him that Hyun's family is worried, and the student said she was last seen here. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise. Mao becomes suspicious and asks if someone else is in the lab. Mr. Lee denies it, saying, "No, it's just the mouse making noise." After Mao leaves, Mr. Lee prepares an injection to slow Hyun's transformation, assuring her, "Don't worry, I'm not killing you. I'm trying to treat you." Later, Mr. Lee goes to his class where Young, the gang leader, is present. Young has written mean words on the back of the girl he filmed, making the students laugh at her. The girl is so distressed that she contemplates suicide. Mr. Lee, however, continues his lesson, seemingly indifferent to the situation. Meanwhile, Hyun fully transforms into a zombie, breaks free, and enters the classroom. She accuses Mr. Lee of turning her into a zombie. Lizzo quickly carries her to the clinic, but she starts convulsing and threatens to kill everyone. Unfortunately, she injures another girl, Jo, during the chaos. Jo's father, a paramedic, treats her wound and advises her to stay safe. Later, Mr. Lee returns to the lab and is shocked to find Hyun missing. Suddenly, Mao enters with someone and takes him to the principal. Mr. Lee insists that Hyun shouldn't be taken to the hospital and must be isolated. At that moment, a police officer arrives, handcuffs him, and arrests him. Meanwhile, the school doctor begins showing symptoms of the virus, with her eyes turning blood red. We learn that Hyun infected her during the injection process. As students pass by the room, they notice the doctor standing barefoot and in distress. Suddenly, they notice the doctor standing barefoot and in distress. Suddenly, she attacks them, ramming into the wall. She then lunges at Jack and attacks others. Jack enters a classroom and bites the most beautiful girl there. Her friend confronts him, saying, "Stay away from her." On the school rooftop, we see Sewell, who is thinking of ending her life due to bullying. Before she jumps, Chai arrives and tells her, "If you do this, I'll kill myself too." Sewell replies, "That doesn't matter. Stay away from me." Taking a deep breath, she prepares to jump, but notices students screaming from the windows as the virus spreads throughout the school. Elsewhere in the school, Jo and her friend finish eating when a zombie attacks. The students try to escape, but Jo trips and falls. One of the zombies sees her and, holding someone's ear in its mouth, Jo sits in front of the zombie, which takes advantage of the situation and attacks her, but Sam saves her at the last moment. Chaos ensues, and the situation spirals out of control. Sama helps Jo escape through the window, and they climb out together. Meanwhile, Young, the gang leader, hides in the kitchen, thinking it's safe. In another scene, we see a group of boys playing around. One of them wears a pot on his leg to make the girls laugh. Suddenly, a zombie arrives. The boy doesn't have time to remove the pot. At that moment, Mao reaches the rooftop and sees the boy eating a student. She says, "Let him go, you pot wearer." But the boy attacks her. Mao runs away to report what she saw, and suddenly a truck enters and runs over the zombie. A person comes to rescue them, but then they are surprised that it is a zombie. Sam takes advantage of the situation and climbs onto the truck, asking Jot to climb up as well, and indeed, they get up safely. But when they enter the school, zombies are everywhere. Unfortunately, one of them attacks Sam. Here, Jot acts quickly, opens a fire extinguisher on them, and they escape the place. They reach a classroom and hide inside. Elsewhere, we see Lizzo and Okuma surrounded by zombies. By coincidence, they see a ladder and climb up, thankfully reaching the same classroom. Everyone there survives. Meanwhile, they interrogate Professor Lee, who explains the whole story. He says his son is a coward and scared of everything. So, he took adrenaline from a rat, added some enhancements, and injected his son with it. He did this so that when the boy feels fear, he would turn into a powerful creature to defend himself. Unfortunately, the son turned into a zombie, bit his mother, and turned her into a zombie too. He asked them to stop Hyun before she reaches the hospital, but it's too late. The ambulance arrives safely, but Hyun is calm due to the sedatives. They conduct tests on her and put her in a CT scan machine. Unfortunately, she starts to transform. The doctor tries to restrain her, but she is stronger than him, attacks them, bites them, and then attacks the entire hospital, crawling like a worm on the ground. The group is still trapped in the classroom. Sam calls the police to come rescue them. The officer asks, "What is this zombie thing?" Sam replies, "Dead people who eat human flesh." The officer says, "We don't fall for such pranks, we're the government." And he hangs up on Sam. Jo uses her wits and calls the fire department, reporting a fire at the school. She also requests an ambulance for her father to reach her. Suddenly, Professor Yuan enters and says, "Everyone, let's move the desk to the door and block it." At that moment, Jo notices that Yuan has been bitten. She yells, "You're going to turn into a zombie." When Yuan sees the bite, he says, "What's this?" She tells him, "You'll turn into a zombie at any moment. If you care about us, leave now." Yuan starts bleeding heavily, ties his wound with a bag strap, and collapses to the ground, experiencing seizures. He attacks a girl and bites her on the face, but someone throws him against the wall. He gets back up and attacks him. One of them grabs a desk and pins him to the wall with the help of another. The girl who was bitten starts to transform and attack Saki, but he holds her off while the others escape. They open the door and leave, throwing her aside, and Saki joins them. They also throw Yuan out and head to the stairs, only to be confronted by a zombie. Lizzo attacked the zombie, but Lizzo falls on the stairs and tells Sam to take everyone to the lab. The problem is that zombies are everywhere, and they don't stop. They lock the zombies behind doors and windows, while Sam tells them to secure the lab. They manage to get inside safely and lock themselves in. Jo notices that Lizzo is missing. Sam tells her the last time he saw him was on the stairs. We then shift to the bathrooms where a boy and a girl are hiding. A girl named Mimi is hiding in the next stall. By chance, she overhears the girl telling her companion that she feels dizzy and hot. Jo hopes she's pregnant and not what he's thinking. Suddenly, Mimi enters and discovers the bite. She locks her in the bathroom and tells Jo they need to get rid of her. Within seconds, she starts to transform into a zombie. Mimi grabs a wooden stick and tells Jo to open the door so she can kill her. As soon as the zombie attacks, Mimi stabs her with the stick through her mouth, but she's still stronger than them. A boy and a girl named Han and Jita arrive and kill her with arrows. Later, the school principal uses the intercom to ask the survivors to stay safe. Everyone hears her, including the zombies. The school director is hiding under his desk, eating. Back in the classroom, Jo stands by the window to calm down. Her friend Maggie tries to cheer her up, holding her hand and saying, "Don't worry, we'll get out of here safely." Jo notices Maggie's hand is cold and asks if she's feeling cold. Before Maggie can reply, she starts bleeding, revealing that she was bitten before entering the classroom. The symptoms worsen, and everyone asks her to leave before she transforms. Jo is heartbroken, recalling their fond memories together. Suddenly, Maggie attacks her, but Sam saves her. Jo catches Maggie before she falls, feeling deep sorrow but unable to do anything. Sam hits Maggie with a chair and ends her. Elsewhere, Lizzo hides alone in a spot near zombies, waiting for the right moment to escape through a window. At the same time, Sam tells the group to prepare to escape through the window. He ties a fire hose and says he'll go first. If it's safe, he'll signal them. Professor Mao helps them get into the broadcasting room. Sam is left alone and zombies invade the classroom, attacking him. He jumps out of the window at the last moment, clinging to the rope. We see Lizzo hiding in the adjacent room. When the moment is right, He escapes through the window and is surprised to see Sam hanging on the rope. He tries to reach him, but it's challenging. A zombie with drool dripping from its face appears. Suddenly, he jumps to grab the rope and descends, getting rid of the zombie clinging to the rope. Joe sees him and tells the girls, Lizzo is alive. Zrenya, they enter the broadcasting room safely. Meanwhile, Van receives a call about a critical case at the city council. He arrives to find a zombie tied to a chair. Van shines a flashlight in its mouth and stares at it. Van orders the medics to tape its mouth shut and transport it to the hospital. The problem arises when the zombie bites one of them. Van reassures him, saying it's not a big deal. Shortly after, his manager calls to inform him of a dangerous virus that spreads through bites. He was shocked because the zombie bit his friend. He fell to the ground. He was spinning and spreading his arms. Suddenly, he attacked Nayan, but Van held his shoulder tightly and asked Nayan to tie him up with a rope. We moved to the school with the rest of the group, and among them was a girl named Jaco. She screamed, "Why did you open the window? Don't you understand?" Sun told her to respect herself. She replied, "No way. You're the one teaching me manners? You're useless and stupid." He told her not to insult him. The teacher said, "This is not the time for what you're doing." They asked why they called him useless. Elizo explained that it's because he's an orphan receiving government assistance. The teacher told them they shouldn't speak to each other like that. A little while later, they saw a computer and had hoped they could connect to the internet to see what's happening in the world. At that moment, Sun noticed the hose moving, but realized it was due to the wind. Suddenly, the glass shattered, and they were startled. Sam grabbed a wooden stick and tried to fend off the zombie. Sun helped him, but the zombie grabbed his hand to bite him. Sam saved him and hit the zombie on the head to make it let go. Lazo realized it was pointless, so he took the stick from Sam and accidentally hit Sun. He tried to fend off the zombie, and Sun grabbed the computer and hit it on the zombie's head. Within seconds, Sun started bleeding. Jaco took advantage of the situation and said he would turn into a zombie. He said, "It's because Lazo hit me with the stick." She replied sarcastically, "Look at the wound on your hand." She tried to convince them he would turn into a zombie to get rid of him. Sam looked at his hand and said, "It's not a bite." The teacher, Mao, reassured them, "Don't worry, it's just a scratch." Jaco argued that anyone who gets injured bleeds from their nose. Sam told her, "We understand you hate him, but this is a life-or-death situation." The teacher suggested, "I have a solution. Let's lock him in the broadcasting room for 5 minutes. If he doesn't turn into a zombie, you'll apologize to him in front of everyone." Sun said, "I'm not staying for 5 minutes. I'll stay for an entire hour to reassure you." They locked him in the room, and he said, logically, "See you in an hour." Meanwhile, Young was still trapped in the kitchen with his friend. He threw him toward the zombie and escaped in the other direction. Another zombie attacked him, and he couldn't find a way to escape. A strong woman advised him to hide with her, but he pushed her toward the zombie. Elsewhere, the group was recording all the information they discovered about the zombies, the most important being that zombies are attracted to sound. Sam checked on Sun and found him still alive. Of course, Jaco was sitting alone with no one around her. Sam asked her, "Why are you so quiet?" She replied, "I talked to my dad 2 hours ago and I'm afraid something happened to him." He told her, "I'm also very worried about my mom, especially since she's opening her own restaurant today." His mother had indeed prepared the restaurant for its opening. Coincidentally, she heard a broadcaster talking about a deadly virus turning people into zombies. She tried calling her son Sam, but his phone was off. Determined to save him herself, she took her motorcycle and sped through the streets, nearly hitting a woman carrying a child. Thankfully, it was a close call. But because the motorcycle was heavy, she left it and ran in the opposite direction. Meanwhile, Sam checked on Sun, who was still fine. He told him, 30 minutes have passed, come out now." Sun replied, "I'm not coming out." The teacher, Mao, said, "I'll get him out." She tried talking to him, but it was no use. Sam said, "I'll go in myself." His friend objected, "Why you? That annoying girl should go in and apologize." Indeed, she went into the broadcasting room and called out to him, but he didn't respond. She placed a cloth on his wound, pretending to treat it, but insulted him again for no reason. "I'm sure you'll turn into a zombie," she said. He replied, "I suspect you did something to me." She left silently. Suddenly, he started bleeding from his nose, confirming her suspicions. Jaco said, "Have you seen this? He's turning into a zombie right in front of you." Sam tried to help him, but he said, "Stay away so you don't get hurt. I feel like my stomach is being torn apart." Everyone was heartbroken for him. Jaco urged them, "What are you waiting for? Get out of here before he eats us." He told them, "Don't touch me. I'll leave on my own." Just before he opened the door, he turned into a zombie. Sam quickly devised a plan, stood by the window, and successfully got rid of him. Sam was devastated, crying. At the same time, a woman carrying her baby was bitten on her hand and was about to turn into a zombie within minutes. She entered an empty restaurant placed her baby inside, and tied herself up far away from him to prevent herself from harming him when she turned. Unfortunately, the sound of the baby crying attracted zombies to the location, and the mother turned into one of them. Meanwhile, at the city council building, they locked the doors tightly. Van told them, "No one is allowed to leave for any reason. I have informed the authorities and they will send a rescue team at any moment." He tried contacting his colleagues to ask about the situation at the school, but no one answered. Back at the school, the group was still mourning their friend. Emma accused Jaco, "I suspect you. Before you went to Sun, I saw you wiping the cloth with zombie blood and then placing it on Sun's wound, pretending to treat it." She demanded that Jaco show the cloth to everyone. When Jaco refused, Emma slapped her and threw the cloth in her face. Sam was shocked and tried to hit her, but they stopped him. Jaco said, "I don't need any of you. I'll go and end my life." She left the room, and the hungry zombies were waiting for this moment. She was ready to die, but just before they attacked her, the teacher, Mao, arrived and saved her. Then, a YouTuber named Times heading to Busan to show his fans the zombies. He was surprised to find the army had closed the city's borders. He told his fans he would enter on foot. He put on his safety gear and was very excited. He arrived in the city at night and encountered a zombie. Suddenly, the zombie noticed him, but he escaped before it could bite him and hid in a quiet place. Meanwhile, Hyun safely arrived at the school, but zombies were everywhere. Coincidentally, she saw Sun, her son's friend. Foolishly, she asked him about her son, but he attacked her and called the other zombies to eat her as a quick snack to keep them awake. Suddenly, a helicopter flew overhead, distracting the zombies, and they moved toward it. At the same time, Young was still clinging to life. He takes a bike to leave the school completely, but the chain falls off. He goes back to the school, hides in the principal's office, and kills all the zombies there. One zombie appears in front of the principal, who is so scared. Meanwhile, we see Times L still hiding. He then reaches a daycare center, enters quietly, but suddenly the children, Zrani, attack him. He screams, help me," and climbs a high play structure to stay safe. Elsewhere, the detective is still talking to a teacher, questioning him. Suddenly, he gets angry and says, "You killed an entire city." The teacher responds, "I tried to fix the issue, but no one cared about what I said. One day, my son ended up in the hospital, and when I went to check on him, I discovered he had tried to commit suicide because of depression. I tried to resolve the problem, gathered all the school teachers and asked them to punish the bullies, but they ignored me, believing bullying is normal. One day, my son came to me barefoot, crying, saying he wished he could die because he was tired. From that moment, I decided to take revenge on the whole world." The detective replies, "This country has laws." The teacher scoffs, "I came to complain to you, and you told me there was no evidence." The detective says, "You're the only one who can lead me to the cure." The teacher replies, "There is no cure." At that moment, orders come in to evacuate the place immediately. They begin transferring the prisoners, but before they can leave, zombies attack. The detective fights through the zombies to protect his friends. Lee watches this scene, feeling happy, but then starts crying when he realizes the gravity of what he caused. A zombie bites the teacher on his hand. He tells the detective, "I could die at any moment. My computer in the school lab has the cure. Go there and leave me." He starts fighting off the zombies and sacrifices himself. Unfortunately, his plan backfires. The detective and his assistant manage to escape safely and head to the school. The next day, the group wakes up to find helicopters flying overhead. They need to get the attention of the helicopters. One person suggests using the students' phones in the teacher's office to access the internet and call for help. They climb to the school roof and see Chan and Sue still sitting together. Sue says, "I wish I had killed myself yesterday. Surely Young uploaded the video and exposed me." Chan remembers Young scheduling the video to upload automatically at 9 o'clock. The time has already passed, so Sue tries to commit suicide again, but Chan stops her. Sue says she will go find Young's phone to delete the video and asks Chan to come along. He refuses, saying, "I'll stay here for you." Sue leaves him and goes alone, but unfortunately, zombies attack and kill her. Before turning into a zombie, she heads to the teacher's office to find the phone before turning into a zombie. Meanwhile, Sam and Lizzo decide to go to the teacher's office as well. Since it's on a different floor, they try to enter through the window. After much struggle, they succeed and enter quietly. They are shocked to see Sue smashing the students' phones and don't understand why. A phone falls near them, and as soon as Sam picks it up, Sue attacks him. Lizzo pushes her away before she can bite him, but zombies storm the room. Lizzo escapes through the window while Sam grabs a phone and escapes through the door. Elsewhere, Young wakes up to find the principal waking him. The principal gives him his car keys, telling him to get the car and return for him. Young refuses, saying he just wants to sleep. The principal threatens him, so Young grabs a knife and says, "What did you say?" The principal laughs it off, saying, "I was joking with you, Young." Can a teacher joke with his students? Young retorts, remember when you hit me in front of the whole school? At that moment, Sam bursts into the room, surprised by the scene. He says, what are you doing? The principal tries to escape but is killed by Young. Young then threatens Sam to hand over the phone, but Sam escapes. Young throws a knife at Sam, hitting him in the back, but he misses. The scene shifts to the city council, where zombies invade the building. The group is forced to climb to the roof while trying to slow the zombies down with water. They manage to escape safely. Sam enters the library and finds a healthy person but fears they might be infected, so he pushes them down. Young arrives and throws the person to the zombies. Sam climbs to the top of the library, and Young tries to catch him. Young tells him, if you want to live, give me the phone. They fight on top of the library. A zombie almost bites Young. Sam manages to hit Young in the eye with the phone and throws him down to the zombies. The zombies attack Young, and Sam watches him die. Sam leaves the library, climbs a pipe to escape, and the scene shifts to a group in the bathroom. They are tired of the smell and decide to leave. Gita insists on searching for her brother, believing he's still alive. They leave the bathroom and start hunting zombies with arrows. Gita checks every classroom hoping to find her brother. They enter the clinic and find a computer, which they use to call for help. Meanwhile, the army holds a press conference, announcing that the city of Hyosan is completely sealed off and promising to do their best to rescue the survivors. And they also say that they cut off communications and the internet from the city. Disconnected. Even communications aren't working. In other words, the city has turned into an open prison. Sam is still stuck in the shelter and trying to contact emergency services, but there's no network at all. At this moment, the helicopter arrives at the city council to rescue those people. They are transferred to a quarantine zone on the city's outskirts where everyone leaving the city is examined. The manager greeted them, she was told. No handshakes are allowed here. She then took them to a place for examination. Van said, my girl trapped among the zombies and I must get out of here as soon as possible. At that time, Joe was sad and crying over her friend Sam. Lou apologized, saying, I'm sorry for leaving you and walking away, but I'm sure he's hiding in a safe place. She replied, we've been stuck here for 3 days. We must go out and explore the area around us to seek help. Surely there are others trapped like us. At that moment, she got a brilliant idea. She told them, there's a remote-controlled plane in the science lab above us. If we use it, we can scout the zombie areas and call for help through it. Sangha volunteered to fetch it, but she stopped him. She then took someone else and went up to the lab. Meanwhile, the detective was still hiding with his assistant, Jin. They were observing an open car, waiting for the right moment to enter it. Jin warned, don't do it, but the detective was determined. Once inside the car, he discovered the key was missing. They got out and searched for a safe place. By chance, they entered Mama Sam's restaurant and found the mother tied up trying to eat them. Jin was shocked and said, what is this? Look over there. They saw her child was still alive. The detective asked. The detective told him to check the fridge for milk. Meanwhile, Joe and her friends reached the science lab and found several planes of different shapes, but the problem was a rat sniffing the blood on Joe's sock. Switching to Sam, who was in a tight spot and reminiscing about his memories with Joe and his mother, whom he missed deeply. He motivated himself not to give up and managed to escape from the shelter. When the zombies saw him, they shouted, surround him, from the other side. He entered the music room, locked the door, and found a single zombie stuck under the piano, posing no threat. Meanwhile, the group safely descended, wrote their address in detail, stuck it on the plane, and started exploring the area. The person controlling the plane monitored the scene on the screen while the others observed. Switching to the group, Gita searched everywhere for her brother but couldn't find him. They decided to head to the shooting range to hide. They killed the zombies in their path, jumped out of a window, and Gita shot some zombies before joining them. At that moment, the plane entered the clinic they were in. Masio noticed an arrow in a zombie's body and told them to stop. Sangha asked, what's wrong? Masio replied, my sister is skilled with bows and arrows and I feel she's alive. They continued exploring the area with the plane and were shocked to find Sam in the music room. They were relieved to see he was okay. They then explored the area in front of the school. Unfortunately, Luca saw her parents in a car, transformed into zombies. She screamed in distress. Suddenly, a zombie attacked the plane and destroyed it, causing their address to fly away into the air. Switching to Young, who had been bitten by a zombie. Strangely, he didn't turn into one. When the zombies attacked him again, they didn't bite him because they perceived him as already infected. Back to the professor, who explained that the virus might evolve, creating half-human, half-zombie hybrids. This is precisely what happened to Young. He confidently walked among the zombies and decided to take revenge on Sam with full force. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates.